Hi everyone, and welcome to Two-Player Quest, where I help you on your quest to find the best two-player board games for you. In today's video, I have a game that is full of cute little doggos. It is Clash of Corgis, which is a card game that plays 3 different variants in this very handy-dandy small box. But is it any good, and how many people can you play it with? Well, let's find out. Clash of Corgis is a game for 2 to 4 players that plays in about 5 to 15 minutes. It's at a 1.00 on Board Game Geek, so it is a very easy game to teach. And it is a medium luck game. It is a lot based on, as the game would suggest, cards. So if you get the right cards, that makes it a lot easier. If you don't, you are not winning this game. The box of Clash of Corgis contains 3 variants of the game. Treasure Island, that has both of these cards as reference sheets. The Illusionist and the Original. I will give a simple explanation of all of the games, what the intention is, but I'm not going to go into deep about what the cards all do. You can read this for yourselves if you pause the screen, or you can look it up in the rules. Starting off with the Original variant, you draw 12 cards to all players, and we have found it is easiest to order them by number from low to high. That's what we do. And it is a sort of trick-taking game. You basically want to get rid of your hand as quickly as possible. The first player to have no more cards in their hand wins. So the starting player chooses a card, they play a card, so they can choose any kind of leading combo. So that can be 1 of a kind, 2 of a kind, or if you have it, 3 of a kind, or even 4 or 5 of a kind, though those are of course more rare. Now, once you have played a combo, the number that you have corresponds to a number on the card. You do that effect. Now the next player must play a higher card if they want to and if they can, and then take that effect. For example, the next player is going to play a 4, which is now, first you do its effect, of course, and then the 4 is now the leading combo. So the next player, especially if you're playing with 2 players, so that's the first player again, plays something higher than a single 4. Now, if you have a hand like this with higher cards, mainly in multiples, except for the 6, for example, you don't necessarily want to play one of those 5s. You would like to keep that for another time. So maybe you'd play a 6. And say the other player doesn't want to join in, they can pass, and then this player wins this trick. Doesn't really matter. But now they can start by placing some cards. So now they start, for example, by placing 2 3s. So then the next player must place 2 cards that are higher than 3. So that's 2 5s, 2 6s, etc, etc. And the same can be said for 3 cards, 4 cards, and 5 cards. The first player to get rid of their whole hand wins. And that is the original game. Next we go over to Treasure Island. For this game, you draw 3 cards to all players, and then you can do 3 things on your turn. You can either play one of the cards in your hand, for example the 7. You place it in your party and do its effect as shown on the card. You can fight 1, 2, or 3 monsters. So in this case you would say, I want to fight 1, and you have to be higher than the amount of monsters that you fight. So in this case, 7 beats 3. So this will become 1 loot for this player. Or you can draw back up to 3 cards. So if you have 2 cards in your hand, you would draw up to 3. So in this case, that would be 1 card. So you do 1 action, then it is the opposite player to do an action, for example. The 9 just so happens to take away this card. Then it is this player's action again. And in this case, they choose to play an 8, which does something for the opposite player. Now, the first person to reach 10 loot cards wins. Now, for Capture the Illusionist, you give both players a set of cards of so the whole set of 1 colour. Now, you shuffle these and place them into a rectangle of 8 cards, and then you can see the cards you have in your hand. Now, it is the intention to capture the Illusionist, which is this wild card. You can do certain actions to basically find out what people have under their closed cards. So for example, once every turn, you may for free look at one of your cards, and you have to remember what's there. The other player may be able to expose one of your cards, or after you've looked at one of those cards, you can play a card, or I think you must play a card. So in this case, for example, I decide to play the 4, which is then openly placed in front of me, and that effect, which is on the reference card, is applied to the other player. The first person to find the other player's Illusionist can decide to give up their ace, but they must know where it is for them to use it, and that will one time allow you to save your Illusionist, but after that, once the Illusionist is found, they have lost a point. Now, the first player to find the other player's Illusionist twice wins the game. Teaching this game to new players is really quite simple. It probably takes about 5 minutes to explain a new player mode, probably less, frankly. It will take you a little longer to learn what every card does separately. You have these separate cheat sheets, and even after playing many games, we still have to check the cheat sheet every time to see what a certain card does. I mean, it does for that game sort of stick around in your head once you've played it a few times, but then if you come back to it a week later, you still have to look it up and be like, okay, what does that do again? If you're looking for a easy, compact game that's easy to explain, but also doesn't take up much room in either your bag or on the table, then Clash of Corgis can be a good fit. It is very compact, as you can see, so it's great for travel or basically on the go. So you can have it in your school bag or in your work bag, and if you have 5 or 10 minutes to kill and you just quickly need a break and want to play a game, then this is very good. And this box is very sturdy. This will last quite a while. We think this is a fun little game to have on hand. Now, I will start off with saying I got this gifted. The designer of this game sent me an email and said, can I send you a game for you to review and look at and play? And I happily obliged because I was very honoured that someone wanted to send me a game to try. So I am relatively biased in this because I got sent a free game, but I am still going to give you my actual opinion about the game. It is a good game. 2 of the 3 variants we quite like. One of the variants is not our thing, but that's okay. One of the variants we do like is the original game. So that's the one you can play from 2 to 4, and you basically have the sort of trick-taking game. It has quite a bit of chaos, a bit of strategy in it, which is also quite fun, what to play when, stuff like that. So those things we find interesting. Now, the one that we don't really like is the Illusionist, this special 2-player game in this stock of cards, as I'm going to quickly call it. We don't like the memory aspect and sort of chessiness strategy aspect. So another game that we don't like is Kelp, because I just don't enjoy it. And in general, we just found that we don't necessarily like that variant. But the variant we like the most is Treasure Island. We like the creating of your crew, seeing what happens. We like the cheekiness that that game can bring. So when you play it with more players and you can basically steal loot and strategically choose which player to attack when they have too much and you have sort of more chances to do so, that is really where I think this game shines. So we really like Treasure Island as well. Now, where this game will be going after this, it is either going to go into our big red box of games over here for when we travel, or it is going like this into our car, which is where we usually have most time, as we have an electric car, so we have to charge it. And when we're charging our car, we have a nice easy game to have with us. The game does become quite a bit more tactical with more players than it does with 2. Treasure Island, for example, is you can have multiple people that have influence on certain people's loots. So you can basically try to stop a player from winning, and that's a lot harder to do with 2 people than it does with 4. So you really have to think a lot more about what you're going to do in a turn with 2 players than when you do with 4, because with 4 you can have more influence, and you also have more people that can help you stop someone from winning. But in general, I would say it is a wonderful 2-player game. It's also very good with 3, and also very good with 4 players. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Clash of Corgis. I want to thank the designer, Derek, for sending this to me so that I can review it. So thank you, I feel very honoured. If you want to see another one of my reviews, you can click up here. Or if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, they can go down below. And I look forward to seeing you next time on 2-Player Quest.